The Lifeguards of Southern California protect over 400 miles of coastline.
It's just really us versus nature.
And nothing impacts their day like the weather.
As lifeguards, the weather dictates the type of day that you're going to have.
Sharks fighting clear the water.
I need medics to ski beach dock and other units.
On these beaches, lifeguards are the first responders.
1, 2, 3, 4. When you get this many people coming to the beach, things are going to happen.
Hey, you all right, buddy? You there?
They are there to save you.
He told me to grab the buoy. He was literally right there.
They are there to lifeguard.
Welcome to Mission Beach, San Diego. Each summer, hundreds of thousands of tourists flock here to enjoy the various activities offered on and off the beach. Today, a high-pressure system is pushing temperatures into the mid-90s, and Sergeant Rick Strobel is preparing for what could be a busy day.
Sometimes on the busiest days, nothing happens. Sometimes on the coldest, cloudiest days with nobody out here, we make all kinds of rescues. But when you get this many people coming to the beach in this type of heat, things are going to happen.
Requesting medics for a 16-year-old female, moderate status.
A young girl has collapsed on Mission Beach. Strobel arrives on scene to assist lifeguard Daryl Pollack.
So no history of seizures,
When we arrived on scene, we had a young girl that was seizing in front of our tower.
Now, you guys check to see if she has any oral trauma? Yeah, she's just clean. She won't open it up. Okay. When we arrived on scene, we had a teenage girl experiencing what we were led to believe was her first seizure ever. Her parents were very upset. They hadn't experienced this before.
The victim's jaw is clenched tight. In this situation, lifeguards are trained to keep her nasal passages open and administer oxygen.
You open your eyes for me, please?
You're always shocked to see younger people experiencing medical issues like a seizure. And to see somebody of her age in a state where she was disoriented and seizing, it's just a really uncomfortable feeling. Did you look at me? Did you look at me at all?
She was agitated. She wasn't breathing effectively, so we gave her oxygen.
Yeah, get the stretcher ready. Your eyes are rolled. Responsive to pain only. Screams. Looks like it's kind of hot. You all right now? There you go. All right. Nice job.
After several minutes, the girl comes out of her seizure. She's confused, but not injured.
It's Cola.
Hello.
That's
How you
Cola.
doing? You feeling better?
Lifeguards do not know what has caused her seizure and what may trigger it again.
I know where you're at. You know where you're at right now? Okay. All right, so Cola's going to try to take your blood pressure, okay?
Suddenly,
There you go. You doing okay? Stay with us. Hey.
the girl goes limp and faints.
9202 sec, 98 beats per minute, 130 over 100.
Let's just go back down. That's actually, hey, Charlie.
Seconds seem like minutes in this situation. And in dealing with the patient, we want to treat the patient. We want to find out everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So when we set her up like this, she went to pass out again, so let's just keep her laid down.
Yeah, keep her laid down. You can elevate her legs a little bit too.
Lifeguards lay the victim flat to move blood to her brain. She regains consciousness as they load her onto the stretcher.
Possible heart attack if they need a
We were dealing with a seizure patient when we got the call of a CPR case right across the street here from the Mission Beach Main Lifeguard Station.
Bonita Cove is roughly 600 yards from Strobel's location. But beach traffic on this crowded Saturday afternoon is hampering the rescue effort. Lifeguard Sergeant Eric Kerr, on patrol nearby, arrives Code 3.
I'm on scene with an approximately 60-year-old male, heart attack in progress. He's breathing.
He jumps in to assist second-year lifeguard Andrew Newberry, who was the first responder.
He was blue in the face. He had a really thready pulse, hard to find. A lot of difficulty breathing, kind of laying on his side, and he was in rough shape. At that point, you want to make sure to check for a pulse. You know, you start going through your basic CPR. So you want to check pulse, no pulse, check for breathing. If he doesn't have any breathing, we had one of his family members let us know he has a history of heart problems. So from there, you just go into CPR.
Athenahol was the medication that he was on for a state that was put in 10 years ago.
right.
Well, the most important thing in CPR is compressions. Because if you're not doing good compressions, then you're not adequately supplying the heart with blood. So as long as compressions are done continuously, that heart can be continuously supplied with blood. But as soon as you have a break in compressions, it makes it difficult for the heart to recover from that. So it's important to continuously do compressions while fitting in ventilations when you can, approximately every 5 to 6 seconds or so.
Dispatch, 2 Sam is on scene.
2 Sam on scene.
Lifeguards Rick Strobel and Charlie Knight arrive from Mission Beach and quickly break out their medical pack.
This call took place over on Mission Bay. It's an area where we have some of our brand new lifeguards assigned. It's a tough call for them.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
This is a major call, maybe one of the first CPR cases they've ever been on. So what we try to do is get there as quickly as possible to provide a little more experience.
Lifeguard Charlie Knight takes over as medical supervisor.
Hey, get back on the chest. Get back on the chest.
All San Diego lifeguards are trained EMTs. 3 are also licensed paramedics, including Knight.
Okay, switch in, go in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
When you have CPR, it's cardiopulmonary resuscitation, you're artificially pumping the heart. So by squeezing that heart muscle, it's going to cause blood to flow in the body.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breath. 1, 2, 3.
This whole scene is playing out right in front of the victim's wife.
This isn't happening. It was very, very scary.
Strobel interviews witnesses to get any information that might help.
My wife happy noticed that John had slumped over, almost face in the plate.
He was sitting eating, and he just kind of keeled over, and we realized almost immediately that it was either a heart attack or a stroke.
You couldn't react any faster to a situation like this, especially on a crowded Saturday afternoon. So they were on it way, way quick.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So we're doing continuous compressions.
Despite their efforts, the pulseless patient does not respond.
His name is John.
John.
Okay, then we're going there, Don.
CPR is now the only thing keeping blood moving through his body.
I got 2 minutes of CPR, and that's the most important thing, is get the CPR started immediately so you can attempt an AD shock.
You got a pulse?
No pulse.
You got a shock?
At this point, the victim is clinically dead.
Heart attack, 10 Sam, Fernando Way.
You got a shock?
The AD machine will tell you, literally with a voice prompt, shock advised or continue CPR.
CPR. Do not touch patient. Analyzing rhythm. Do not touch patient.
The lifeguards attached an AED to the victim when they arrived. Now, they must use it.
The AED is an automated external defibrillator. What the AED does is it's basically a reset button for a patient who's suffering from cardiac arrest. What it does is it sends an electrical impulse through the heart, and hopefully that electrical impulse will reset the heart back into its regular rhythm. Studies have shown that quick deployment of the AED is vital for a patient's survival.
Everybody stay clear. I'm clear, you're clear, we're all clear. Shocking.
You guys check to see if she has any oral trauma? Yeah, she's just clean. She won't open it up.
Okay. Great. Can you open your eyes for me, please?
Lifeguards were helping a seizure victim on Mission Beach when another urgent call came through.
Let's get I would need a code for a possible heart attack. That's about 2 minutes out.
Possible heart attack if they need a code.
We were providing the patient care, turning her over into medics when we got the call of a CPR case right across the street here from the Mission Beach Main Lifeguard Station.
Lifeguards Rick Strobel and Charlie Knight left Code 3. Daryl Pollack, Cole Rosenthal, firefighters, and medics stayed with the girl.
We wanted to get the patient into the medical room at our main lifeguard tower.
Can you keep that on your face for me? That's oxygen. It's going to help clear up your mind, okay?
We handed her off to medics that are going to transfer to the hospital. They're going to put her on and analyze her body and see what exactly is going on so they can give her the proper medication that she needs.
"600 yards away at Bonita Cove, lifeguards are working on a pulseless heart attack victim.
I got a call, somebody's having a heart attack, so went down, responded, and then started CPR.
It's now up to San Diego lifeguards to bring him back to life.
Everyone's there. You're there. Everyone's there.
There you go. Good job.
The gentleman essentially was dead. And when I say dead, no pulse, no real breathing. That's worst case scenario. However, you don't focus on the negative. I mean, our glass is half full. What can we do now forward to save this gentleman?
After 2 shocks to the heart, the victim regains his pulse and takes an unsteady breath. Paramedics arrive. They work side by side with lifeguards as CPR continues.
Step back. Step back, please. How long we've been down so far?
10 minutes.
One overturned vehicle.
Hey, what are his eyes doing, by the way?
Clinging to life, the patient begins to fade again.
Who's running the drug box?
The victim is breathing, but his vital signs have medics concerned.
Bag ready? Bag ready? Okay.
Affirmative, intensifies.
Medics continue to stabilize the victim's heartbeat. And then, it's gone.
He might be there. Check his pulse. Check his pulse. Yeah, I'm not getting the radio anymore. Go ahead and shock him. Okay, hold on. Stand back, guys. That's clear. Clear. Okay. Got blood coming out. You get blood? I got it. Want to get that all on? Get back on the chest. Back on. Back on the chest. Go. Now. 2, 3. Right away. Okay, I got a radio back. What's your pulse you got? I got a really strong radio right now. Yeah.
The victim's pulse and breathing steady. He's now ready to be transported.
3rd shock's what did it. After that, you can see a little life in the gentleman, toes moving, and then by that time, they're dropping the proper medications for him.
All right. I'll tell you what, let's load him up and go to the hospital.
You guys want to come straight in? Yeah, if you guys want to lift straight up, we'll go straight in.
Feet first. Need some help on that side. Okay. 3.
The victim's wife, Kitty, has just been through an incredible ordeal. She witnessed her husband's death. Then lifeguards brought him back to life.
John, Kitty's going to see you at the hospital. We're all here for you, John.
All right, he's gonna make it.
When he left the beach, it looked promising. He was breathing on his own with a pulse.
The end result, he got a pulse. They were able to resuscitate him, and he's going to go to the hospital. It's a good feeling. You know, you train for so long for it, and it's good to finally kind of see that come to fruition and kind of see that you made a difference in somebody's life.
The lifeguard was here immediately. They were amazing, and it was incredible. They saved John's life.
This is Windansea Beach, one of the most popular surf spots in America. Its most famous icon is the Surf Shack. This historical landmark has been overlooking the waves since it was built in 1946. At Windansea, the large rocks dotting the coast extend past the shoreline, creating offshore reefs and steep ledges. This dynamic seafloor contributes to Windansea's remarkable surf break. However, these waves are better left to the experts. A large storm in New Zealand has pushed a massive swell towards San Diego. It will hit from the south, which is the perfect direction for surfers at Windansea Beach. Today, lifeguards Todd Rice and Al Valentine will spend their day perched in front of the popular point known as Flat Rock.
Just actively watching the water. We got a lot of potential out here with this south swell from New Zealand, so extra high alert, and a lot of preventative acts and making a lot of good rescues today. Like these 2 guys heading out spearfishing right now. I've already made contact with them. It's really not a good day to go out spearfishing. can there to see your hand in front of your face today and nonetheless see a fish. So I guarantee they'll probably be back in within 10 minutes. A lot of the locals are really confident out here, but we get a lot of foreigners that come out and don't really realize the situation they might be getting into. So those are the ones that we're really on the lookout for today.
Visitor Kim Provost experienced firsthand the dangerous terrain of Winden Sea Beach.
I was standing with my husband and my daughter down by these rocks over here. I just wasn't paying attention, and the wave came in and just swept me off my feet, and then I was grabbing for my daughter, who's only 4.5, and I was worried about her, and I ended up just getting slammed into the rocks twice. So I'm from Phoenix visiting, and with the surf being this high, it was scary.
There's a set rolling through on the outside, so it's gonna come in right here.
You might as well just go get her, dude, because
she's getting pretty far out. When people start getting sucked out, you can see them drifting further and further out, and you have to respond quickly because you can't wait until someone's on the outside or they're, panicked and way far out. A lot of things go into deciding if someone needs help. Sometimes people just have no idea. You got to be in on those guys quick. You can see it right here where this water's extending outward. That's how you know there's a rip there. You kind of see it too. It looks like a river.
Winden Sea Beach is defined by its steep underwater drop-offs. Swimmers need only to walk a few yards from shore before the bottom slips away.
The rip that's off Flat Rock right here is pulling really, really hard. So it's just sucking people that are waist deep, ankle deep, just straight out.
Several minutes after entering the water, the pair of spear fishermen surface near an outcropping of jagged rocks. Lifeguard Rice notices a rip current has pinned one of the men against the reef. He reacts quickly. Rice rides the rip current out toward the victim and is immediately sucked into the whitewash. The man continues to struggle, but the rip is too strong. Rice signals the other victim to swim to shore. The victim tries to follow his friend, but he's trapped in the surf. Rice knows there is only one way back to the shore. Now, they must ride the rip current back out and through the rocks. One victim is now free of the rip. Rice leads the other around Flat Rock. If a large wave breaks now, they will be dashed against the reef.
I initially went out on those two spear fishermen, and the one guy lost his spear, and then they got caught outside of Flat Rock here. I just went out and rescued them. Standard rescue, but just trying to keep everyone safe.
I expect it to be a little rough today, but I thought I'd be able to handle it. But yeah, it was just a little tough. So I'm glad he came out and got us.
August 11, 2012 was the day John Purvis died.
How long we've been down so far?
10 minutes. One overturned vehicle.
Hey, what are his eyes doing, by the way? Endpoint? Might be there. Check his pulse. I'm not getting the radio anymore. Go ahead and shock him. Okay, hold on. Stand back, guys.
It was instant, there was no warning, and we got him on the ground, and people were rushing for help, and I just felt terrified and helpless, and it was awful.
August 11, 2012 is also the day he came back to life.
All right, he's gonna make it.
John and Kitty have returned to Bonita Cove to remember and to appreciate the gift they both got that day.
The fact that they were able to start CPR instantly or immediately, and then they brought the paddles to get my heart working again. The electric paddles, that's what saved it. Otherwise, this is not a bad place to go, but I'm not ready yet.
Everything was going great. John feeling fine and in rare form, as usual.
A person ran up on a bike and said, hey, somebody's having a heart attack. So went down, respond, let the main station know, you're responding to a medical aid. And from there, we saw him. He was not breathing well. He had a really thready pulse, hard to find.
Get airway. Don't touch him. Clear. You're touching him.
He was blue in the face, a lot of difficulty breathing, kind of laying on his side, and he was in rough shape.
I mean, he was fading fast. His color was not good, and he was going, going quick, basically.
The gentleman essentially was dead. The guards that responded began just old school CPR, and that's the most important thing, is get the CPR started immediately. You don't focus on the negative. I mean, our glass is half full. What can we do now forward to save this gentleman?
It is this attitude that helps all lifeguards transcend the duty of public safety. Their reward is knowing they were able to bring a loved one back to family alive.
The lifeguards and the paramedics absolutely saved his life that day. We were so grateful.
So this is kind of what you've trained for. So you just training kicks in and you jump right in and start going.
Yeah, it just wasn't my time. God looked down and she wasn't ready to let me go.
He's here today. He's here. It wasn't his time. He's here.
The work by the lifeguards and others is what really saved my life.